Hello, folks. I'm Fess Parker. You you might have known me from Old Yeller and Davy Crockett.
And Daniel Boone, I think.
Um, and of course Daniel Boone.
Just saying.
Uh, and it's been a great pleasure working with Walt Disney for more than 50 years. Join me as we take you for a special behind the scenes look at the making of Ryan the Eagle, the the bravest eagle in the West, the making of Ryan the talking eagle. Walt Disney grew up in a small town of Marceline, Missouri. He started his career as Davy Crockett in the late 1930s through the late 1950s. Here to talk to you about how Maurice Sendak classic children's novel was turned into a big screen epic. Here is Leonard Maltin, played by my dad, to explain to you why Maurice Sendak was such a wonderful author and playwright and was able to make this masterpiece come true. Now here is Leonard Maltin. Leonard?
Fess, it is so nice to be on your program. I have been one of your fans for many years. So I'm honored to be here. Maurice Sendak. You know, it's like synonymous with the best of children's semi-scary, quirky books, right? He draws these fantastic little creatures and brings them to life. And he has this special knack of having animals who really shouldn't be able to talk. He makes them talk. And it's easy to do when you're writing a book. So he wrote this book about Ryan the Talking Eagle. Well, first of all, most people never get close enough to an eagle to talk with them, even if they knew they could talk. Eagles are kind of scary, and they live up in high places, and they soar around way up high, and, you know, nobody ever gets to talk with an eagle. But Maurice Sendak had an idea. His idea was that Ryan was a little eagle that fell out of his nest called an eyrie, way up in that tree. And he fell down onto the floor of the forest. Fortunately, he was in a beautiful redwood tree, and they dropped over thousands of years, needles and stuff off their branches, and it formed like a soft feather bed that Ryan landed on. He went floop, and instead of being killed, he survived. But here he is, kind of walking around, because he doesn't know how to fly yet, walking around on the floor of the forest, and who comes along? Yep, you guessed it, Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone, walking in the forest, comes across this little eagle, and he takes him and picks him up, and he looks up, way up in the tree. He sees the nest maybe 200 feet up, and he says, I cannot climb that tree to put you back where you belong. So he takes him home instead. And he comes to find out that this little eagle is really, really smart. And he teaches him how to speak. He speaks English. And Daniel Boone had a son named Ryan. But Ryan died when he was only 3 years old. And so, in memory of his son, Daniel called the little eagle Ryan. And he taught him how to talk. And that's how Maurice Sendak presents to us Ryan the Talking Eagle.
How I got started in my career for Walt Disney is a very fascinating story. It all began in 1951 when I was asked to play the title role of Davy Crockett and cowboy Jim.
Cowboy Jim. I remember him. You played 2 roles.
Jim Colt.
Jim Colts and Davy Crockett.
And in the late 1940s to the early 1960s, Maurice Sendak was one of my favorite authors to bring this book to magical life.
Mine too.
Here to explain about some of Walt Disney's short TV programs in Frontierland. Here is Mr. Walt Disney, played by my dad, to tell you how Maurice Sendak became not only one of the greatest authors in the world, but also a good playwright. So, Mr. Disney, you can talk about how Mr. Disney got involved with Fess Parker on your short Disney stories in Frontierland.
Well, Fess, first I want to say, if you call me Mr. Disney one more time, I may leave. We are like that close. We have been working together for 50 years. Give me a hug, Fess. Oh, boy, I feel so short next to you, which is truly amazing since I'm 6'5". But yes, Maurice Sendak, wonderful children's author of books. Few people know about his talents as a playwright, however. I do. And one of Maurice's first plays, actually, was adapted from his book, Ryan the Talking Eagle. And it really is just a masterful, masterful play. They have a very small person that dresses up in an eagle costume and plays Ryan.
Oh, you're talking about stage actor Ernie Sabala.
How'd you know?
Well, that's what you get when you know somebody who is a great Disney host.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, anyhow, that's true. And Maurice made a fantastic Broadway production. And I, Walt Disney, you can call me Walt, I decided this would make a fantastic short movie, half an hour, on Frontierland. Now, you may all remember how when Walt Disney Presents came on the TV, you'd be able to see at the very beginning whether it was going to be Frontierland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, or Fantasyland. And my personal favorite was always Frontierland. And the main reason for that, Fess, was because you were in so many of my shorts. So I decided, since you've played Daniel Boone in some of my movies, I figured, well, you could play Daniel Boone in this short episode of Ryan the Talking Eagle for Frontierland. And we're about ready to run out of time on this video.
Wait a second.
Yes, sir.
Fess Parker would like to say one last thing.
One last thing. Wrap it up.
Before we put this video on YouTube.
Yeah? What is it?
By the earliest of 1971 through 1972, Mr. Ward Kimball will talk to you about some of the familiar voice talents for Ryan the Talking Eagle. So here's Ward Kimball to talk to you about some of the voice talents for Ryan the Talking Eagle. Ward?
Yes, Fess. I'll be very happy to, but we are really running out of time, so this will be very quick.
Yes.
To play Daniel Boone, the voice was done by the actor himself, Fess Parker. To play Ryan the Talking Eagle, the voice was...
Oh, I think I know who did the voice for Ryan.
Oh, what do you need me for?
Well, you can go on.
No, yeah, I want to hear from you. Let's see if you got it right.
Christopher Lloyd.
How did you know that? This movie has not yet been released.
I just guess.
Wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the behind-the-scenes story of Ryan the Talking Eagle. Bye-bye.
Bye. This is Fess Parker saying goodbye.
Goodbye. Nicely done.